Alrighty guys, the 3D print hang is about to get a whole lot more busy. I'm gonna have a lot more time on my hands to make more vlog style content, which I've been meaning to do because I really don't have that many long form videos on my YouTube channel, but here we go. So I got a lot of planes in the works right now. I have a 64mm X29 from Experimental RC,
Cue slow pan aesthetic edit.
which I've been looking for an X29 for a while because I don't know, I have an affinity for that airplane, but nobody's made one that looks really true to scale. I know Kyle has one and it flies great, but doesn't have the full flying canards, and they're not, I'm just very anal when it comes to my scale airplanes. They're not at the lower part of the fuselage, at the midpoint of the fuselage. Call me a whiny poopy baby in the comment. Whatever. But then I have two 50mm from Sodi's 3D down here. They're
Look out, it's another aesthetic edit. Here we go.
sport jets, which is what I've been leaning towards making mostly as of late, which is they just fly great. The 3D printed sport jet scene is, the scale planes are cool, they look great, but a lot of the time they don't really fly that great. The sport jets just fly incredible. The stick feel is, feels amazing. Oh wow, that sounds crazy. But what I'm really excited about is I currently have two planes that I'm going to be working on. One of them is currently on the printers. It is an 80mm EDF, and the EDF is because I want a body in my F5 80mm from Freewing. Cue video.
What you fine folks see here is the result of a wild Christian flying an RC aircraft. They always crash.
And the other one is from Avalanche Models. They're a newcomer to the 3D printed airplane space, I guess you can call it. They have an Edge.
Appreciate the majesty of this thing. Appreciate it!
And they claim that their plane has a, I think it was an equal or a lighter wing loading. I spoke to the designer not too long ago than Extreme Flight. That's a pretty bold statement, because Extreme Flight, you gotta sell your kidney and your left testicle to be able to afford one of those things. And even then, there's no guarantee that you're getting the plane off the container. They could be like, oops, we sold it to somebody else. But I just know somebody that happened to. I never bought a plane from Extreme Flight. I don't have that many shekels laying around.
I actually had to Google this. I threw up a little bit of my mouth looking at these prices. Holy cow!
That's why I 3D print everything so the wife doesn't kill me. But I'm super excited to work on that thing. So currently I have a bunch of parts for the 80mm Saberwind, it's called, from Sodi's printed. And I'm going to bring you in closer to show you what's going on over here, because this is great. So first I just want to show you the setup of the 3D printing station. We have all my carbon fiber, my push rods here. 3D printer number 1, 3D printer number 2. So these are trailing link, fully 3D printed landing gear. Now the electronic retract, they all have these metal pins that typically go into a aluminum trailing link or an oleo. It's like a spring that is almost like a shock absorber, but those almost always wind up bending or breaking because they're either crystalline hard or they're just too soft. This is a game changer because the steel rod that goes into this isn't going all the way in. It's only going in about that much. So this is going to give way before that steel rod breaks. So if this does break, I mean, these things are pretty effing robust, but if this does break, 20 minutes. I mean, I can't imagine it taking more than 20 minutes to remake another piece for the strut. Even making all three of them, maybe an hour. So that's pretty cool. And on top of that, so a lot of the 3D printed airplanes that I've built that have retracts, it's all one piece. And what I mean by that is, instead of it being this nice, robust block that the retract unit screws into, and then this goes into the 3D printed part with all of this surface area distributing the load, it's usually one 3D printed part with these screw holes in the LWPLA. So inevitably when that retract decides to let go, because nature takes the path of least resistance, the whole fuselage is done. And then you're stuck either having to cut this and figure out what layer it is and blah, blah, blah. This is a way more robust solution to a problem that I didn't even really think
about solving that problem, because I just build these things. A lot of people think that I designed these planes. I don't have the know-how to do the 3D design software, and I don't have the money probably or the patience to get involved with that. I just like building stuff. Building has always been my therapy. And then, of course, the shameless, I don't even know if it's a plug, honestly, at this point. I was buying Starbond long before they even knew I existed. The first, I don't even know how many 100 videos I put on my Instagram before that post went viral and I started getting sponsorships. I was buying this stuff with my own cash to build all the 3D printed airplanes that I had ever built before my page took off. And now, thankfully, as a sponsor, Starbond has been, I mean, incredible, honestly. And just their products, they speak for themselves, man. Like, you got all the woodworkers on Instagram and YouTube using this stuff. I've been using this stuff for at least minimum 5 years, and I have never once had a problem with this stuff. It's kind of a mess in here, I do apologize. Propellers, Starbond, epoxy. This thing's incredible. Unfortunately, this is discontinued. This is from Santa Claus himself, Mr. J from Jay's RC Garage. This was given to me in a box of parts. Probably the biggest headache to build, honest to goodness. The amount of times that I wanted to give up on building this thing, I can't even count. But this airplane is... this is something else, man. This airplane flies amazing. And then the parts box. This is from every crashed airplane that I've ever had, and then anything else in between that I've had to purchase winds up in these things. I got these 3 containers from the Hazard Harbor Freight, and they work fantastic for what you need. Wife's label maker comes in handy, but we got a ton of stuff. We got servos, extensions, more servos, retracts, motors, ESCs, receivers, miscellaneous wire. And then we got more stuff down here. We got some Velcro, hinges, and all that other jazz. And on the bottom, we got more ESCs and EDFs and all that fun stuff. I get it out for you, but I don't feel like having a hobble. And then just, this is fucking disaster. Great backyard plane. Not a backyard plane, but sick. 2 great backyard planes, and then, again, not a backyard plane, but sick. These are both from RC Powers. Long time ago, Dave Powers was a big RC guy on YouTube, and then he just kind of just vanished one day. Literally just disappeared, stopped making videos, and called it a day. But I have plans for these things from when I purchased them probably a decade ago at this point, and these things are great. And then, of course, we have the ADHD computer station. We have my 2 monitors that were graciously provided by a fine gentleman on Facebook Marketplace so I can focus on stuff. But yeah, guys, this is where the magic happens. Every plane that you guys have seen on my channel from this point forward to a couple of months ago has come from this workbench. Oh, this was also handmade. I made this out of 2x4s and plywood. I don't know if I mentioned that. ADHD's a bitch. But yeah, man, a couple of 2x4s and some plywood, and you get folding. Actually, this whole thing folds up into like a suitcase. It's pretty effing cool. Like $100. So, highly recommend that. Definitely recommend finding some plans or something like that and calling it a day. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot more vlog-style build videos, wiring, and all that jazz. So, stay tuned, and love, peace, chicken grease.